Create New Block. This lesson will cover navigating to the Manage Block window and the process of creating a new block. To begin, click the Booking menu. Next, click Blocks and then click Manage Block. You can use blocks to manage a large number of guest room reservations or catering events using block codes which serve as the confirmation number for bookings. To create a new block, you can click the Create Block link or the I Want To link. In this example, we will click the Create Block link. From the Create Block window, you are able to define the primary details for the group block. In the Block Definition section of the window, you are able to specify the profile and stay details for the block. The Account field is where you are able to attach profiles to the block by selecting or creating a company or travel agent profile. Click the search icon to open the Quick Profile Search dialog box. From here, you are able to search for profiles to attach to the block. If you need to create a new profile, you would click the I Want To link to create a new profile. You can also select a corresponding contact profile that is used to identify the key person that will provide information for the group. Click Close. The Start and End Date fields are where you define the dates for the block. When the number of nights for the block is entered, the end date adjusts accordingly. The Block Name field is where you are able to identify and search for the block. The block code is automatically generated based on a configured template and can be changed prior to saving the block. You can use the Get Default Block Code link to generate a block code or change the code back to the default code before saving. The Block Status field is where you enter the current stage of the negotiating process and control whether rooms are deducted from inventory. Click the search icon to open the Search and Select Block Status dialog box. Here, you can find a list of available statuses. This list is property specific. The codes that appear will depend on the status flow set and configuration. All blocks have a default starting status. If multiple options for the starting block status are listed, you will need to select the status that best suits the needs of the block at the time. Click to highlight the desired code and then click the Select button. You would use the Market field to produce reports that correspond to the property's marketing strategy. The Source field is where you manage and track the source of the business. This can indicate whether the block was booked directly or through a third party, such as a travel agent, wholesaler, or central reservation system. The Reservation Type field is where you notate guaranteed methods of the block reservations. Available reservation types are determined by the current block status. The Inventory Control field is where you are able to control the block's room inventory. Depending on the value selected, reservations may be sold beyond the original number or rooms allotted for the block. Click the Inventory Control drop-down. If a block is non-elastic, no reservations can be booked outside of the block dates or exceed the inventory blocked in the room grid. If a block is elastic, it can be stretched to accommodate reservation demand over and above the allotted number of rooms, given that the property still has availability. You also have the ability to book outside of the block's core dates. The Block Owner field is where you indicate the specific sales owner for this block. The user who creates the block will be the default owner. When you click the search icon, a Search and Select dialog box will appear where you can update the owner for the block. The Decision Date field is used to indicate the date by which the group is expected to decide whether to accept the terms offered by the property. The Follow-up Date field is used to indicate the next anticipated date of any ongoing communication with the customer. The Origin field is where you are able to track statistics regarding the origin of the business. These are usually the booking channels for the block reservations. The Type field is used to classify the block. This field is optional and can be used to run reports for a general overview of the type of business being booked. The Room Details section is used to specify a key date and rate details for the booking. You can use the Rate Code field to attach a pre-configured rate to the block. Rate code amounts will apply to the rooms within the block. For this block, we will use the room grid to add rate details. We will cover the room grid later in this course. You can use the Print Rate checkbox to control whether the rate information is printed on folios, confirmation letters, and registration cards. You can use the Suppress Rate checkbox to control whether the rate details are hidden or suppressed for the Opera Cloud user. The cutoff date and cutoff days fields are where you determine when the block's unreserved rooms are automatically released back into inventory. You can use the cutoff date field or the cutoff days field. You cannot use both at the same time. If you do not use either field, all room types receive the arrival date as the cutoff date. The cutoff date is considered a hard cutoff that determines when the block's unreserved rooms will be released back into inventory. The end-of-day process will automatically release unsold rooms for all room types and all dates. Cutoff days provide a rolling release of the block's unreserved rooms. The end-of-day process will automatically release unsold rooms one night at a time. This rolling release allows for block availability to remain open longer to accommodate last-minute bookings. The persons per room field is used to define estimated occupancy to be used when calculating forecasted revenues. This is based on the total number of rooms being multiplied by the rate per occupancy. In the catering details section, you are able to create a simple event or catering event within Opera Cloud. For more information regarding catering details, please review the courses within the Opera Cloud Sales and Event Management, also known as OSEM, learning path within digital learning. If you click the Save button, you would save the block and return to the Manage Block window. Clicking the Save and Manage Block button will save the block and take you to the block overview window. If you click the Save and go to Room Grid button, the block will be saved and you would be taken to the Room and Rate Grid window. In this example, we will click the Save button and return to the Manage Block window where the newly created block now appears. This lesson covered navigating to the Manage Block window and the process of creating a new block. For more information on Opera Cloud, please review other courses on this topic within Opera Digital Opera Cloud. Thank you. Room and Rate Grid 1. This lesson will cover the process of adding shoulder dates to a block, changing the view options of the Room and Rate Grid, and the process of loading core rooms and rates into the Room and Rate Grid. This lesson begins from the Manage Block window. Here, you are able to search for existing blocks or create new ones. In this example, an existing block appears in the bottom of the window. Click the Block ID link to navigate to the block window. From the block window, you are able to make updates to your block. Before loading the Room and Rate Grid, you will need to specify shoulder dates for this block. Click the Edit button to open the Block Details window. We will explain this window in a separate lesson. Shoulder dates are available with the Elastic Inventory Control option. This field defines a period of time outside of the block's start and end dates where reservations can be made against the block. Depending on availability, the property may choose to set higher or lower rates for the shoulder dates. The shoulder start and end date fields are dates that will restrict when rooms can be added to the before arrival and after departure dates of the block. You have the option to define shoulder rates using rate codes or directly on the Room and Rate Grid. If necessary, you can click the search icon for the shoulder start or end rate fields to choose from a list of available rate codes. In this lesson, we will load shoulder rates directly onto the Room and Rate Grid. Click the Save button to return to the block window. Now, click the Room and Rate Grid link. The Room and Rate Grid window contains the number of rooms and rates assigned for the room types on each date of the block. At the top of the window, a link to view the business card containing details of the block is available to you. At the bottom of the window, a grid displays the rooms allocated to the block as well as any rate information. The block dates are listed along the left side of the grid. Dates with a red indicator represent shoulder dates. To better manage the block, you can use the View Options link to change how the grid appears in the window. Click the View Options link. The View Options dialog box appears. There are different options for you to choose from to change the display of the Room and Rate Grid. In this example, house availability has been selected and will be reflected on the grid when you click the Apply button. House availability now appears in the grid. This line will show the number of rooms currently available for each room type for the dates you selected. Click the Actions link, then click the Load Room Grid link. The Load Room Grid dialog box appears. From here, you can define the number of rooms and rates for the block. Provided the room and/or rates are the same each night, you can load the entire date range or specific dates. The date range will automatically default to the core dates selection. When you click the date range dropdown, you are able to update the room grid details for shoulder start and end dates. Each of these options will need to be loaded separately. The to and from date fields automatically default to the dates for the block. You are able to manually edit the date or use the calendar icon to change dates. You also have the option to use the days of the week checkboxes to designate which days should be affected by the room and rate updates. The grid type field is where you are able to select the type of grid you wish to view. Because the block is still in its initial status, Original Rooms is the only option available to you. The Room Types column on the left is where you select the room types that are being added to the block. You can select more than one room type at the same time, provided you are going to add the same number of rooms for each type. The number of rooms you enter determines how many rooms will be loaded for each selected room type. The Increase/Decrease Rooms checkbox is what you will use to modify an existing room grid once rooms have been loaded. To increase the number of room nights on the grid, you can click the checkbox and insert one or more rooms. To decrease the number of room nights on the grid, you can click the checkbox and enter a number preceded by a minus sign in the number of rooms field. In this example, we have entered a 5 in the number of rooms field. This indicates that we will be loading 5 K1 rooms and 5 Q2 rooms into the grid. You can modify these values as long as the dates are between the current business date and the to date listed above. Because a rate code was not used, rate amounts will need to be defined in the Rate 1 through 4 fields and the Add Rate field. The Rate 1 field is the rate for single occupancy. Rate 2 is the rate for double occupancy, and so on. You can use the Add Rate field to define the amount for an additional person. Most external reservation systems that communicate with Opera Cloud will need to have rate amounts entered into the Rate 1 and 2 fields. When entered in the block details window, the cutoff date or cutoff days will default. When you click the Save and Continue button, the dialog box will be reset and you will be able to add more information in the Load Room Grid dialog box. In this example, additional room types have been entered. We will click the Save button to record our changes and return to the Room and Rate Grid window. The total core rooms and rates loaded into the grid now appear. Additional details regarding the Room and Rate Grid will be covered in the Room and Rate Grid 2 lesson. This lesson covered the process of adding shoulder dates to a block, changing the view options of the Room and Rate Grid, and the process of loading core rooms and rates into the Room and Rate Grid. For more information on this topic, Room and Rate Grid 2. This lesson will cover loading shoulder room rates into the Room and Rate Grid, washing rooms from the Room and Rate Grid, and the additional options on the Room and Rate Grid window. In the Room and Rate Grid 1 lesson, we demonstrated the process of loading core rooms and rates. Now, let's load rates for specific room types over shoulder dates. Click the Actions link, then click the Load Room Grid link. As a reminder, shoulder options are only available if the block is elastic and the shoulder dates have been set in the block overview window. In this example, the date range field has been updated to reflect shoulder start. When the shoulder start or shoulder end date ranges are chosen, the from and or to date fields are updated to reflect the shoulder's start or end. The room types and rate amounts for the shoulder start and shoulder end can be different. This can occur when a group's preferences vary. When you're finished, click the Save button to return to the grid where the rates for the shoulder dates have now loaded. Because the grid only shows the core dates by default, we have updated our search criteria to display the shoulder dates. Shoulder dates are indicated by a red icon just above the date. Let's click the Expand All link to view all the details within the grid. When fully expanded, you are able to see all of the rate and availability details. You can click the Edit link to make changes to the number of rooms and rates directly on the grid. Now that we're in edit mode, we can adjust the rates and rooms on the grid by updating the appropriate field. In this example, the original number of rooms has been reduced from 5 to 3. Click the Save button to record your changes and exit edit mode. A message will appear at the bottom of the window confirming that your changes were saved successfully. When demand is high and the group bookings are not materializing, you can remove rooms from the block using Wash. Click the Actions menu, then click the Wash link to navigate to the Wash Room grid. From here, you are able to release rooms from the block so that they can be sold to the general public. You are able to reduce rooms from the block by a percentage or a fixed number. As the start date draws near, the property may decide to reduce the number of rooms set aside for the block. Just like the Load Room grid, the from and to dates will automatically default to the start and end dates of the block. You can manually edit the date or use the calendar icon to change it. Alternatively, you can use the checkboxes to select which days of the week should be affected by these changes. You would then select the room types you want to reduce or wash from the block. The Value field is where you enter a specific number of rooms to be washed. Each of the selected room types will be decreased by this number. The Percentage field is where you enter the percentage of the selected room types to be washed. The Percent by Day field is where you enter a percentage of rooms on a particular day to be washed. The percentage value is entered for the day of the week that should be changed. In this example, a percentage has been entered for all room types. Click the Save button to return to the Update Room and Rate Grid window. The number of rooms in the block has been reduced by the percentage we entered. When the Opera Cloud Control Auto Load Contract Grid is turned on, the Contract Rooms grid will be visible on the grid. You can use contract rooms to track what rooms were negotiated with the customer separately from the inventory being held from the block. Additionally, the Copy Original Grid as Contract link is available in the Actions menu. When you use this link, you are able to copy the latest original rooms grid to the Contract Rooms grid. Click the Back to Block link to return to the Block Overview window. Based on the information in the Room and Rate grid, a summary of room nights and revenue will appear in the window. This lesson covered loading shoulder room rates into the Room and Rate grid, washing rooms from the Room and Rate grid, and the additional options on the Room and Rate grid window. For more information on Opera Cloud, please review the field for Block Status. This lesson will cover navigating to the Block Status window and the process of updating block statuses. Block status codes reflect the current stage of the negotiating process and control whether rooms are deducted from inventory. The status code reflects the block status in terms of inquiry, contract pending, open for pickup, canceled, and so on. Click the Block Status link. From the Block Status dialog box, you are able to view the block's current status along with any previous statuses of the block. Click the Change Block Status link to advance the block status flow. Each property determines their block status codes and the status flow that is required to suit their business needs. A small property may only have 2 statuses, while a larger resort could have an extensive list to track the block in every step of the negotiation process. The current block status is shown in the top right corner of the dialog box. The next available block statuses are listed for you to select from. When you select a new block status, updates that are made to the block appear in the Room Status Details section. This information includes whether rooms attached to the block are deducted from the property inventory and if they are available for pickup. The Reservation Type field affects how the individual reservations are made for the block. A reservation type must be assigned to the block in order to identify if the group is deducted or not deducted from availability, as well as how the reservation is guaranteed. These codes are usually linked to the block status, so they default and change along with the status flow. For this property, the next statuses following prospect are tentative, lost, or refused. In this example, when tentative is chosen, the rooms are able to be deducted from inventory, but reservations cannot be made. If a block is changed to a canceled status, including lost or refused, you are able to update the Cancellation Details section. Any deposit and cancellation information related to the block appears in the Deposit Cancellation section. Click the Save button. You can now see that the block status history is updated to reflect the change. Let's change the status of the block again. Notice that your block status options have changed based on the current status. The next available statuses are definite, lost, refused, and canceled. For this property, selecting a definite status moves the block to pickup, allowing for reservations to be made. The reservation type has been updated. The updated block status now appears in the Block Overview window. You should review your property's processes and procedures to determine how block statuses impact the way you use Opera Cloud. This lesson covered navigating to the block status window and the process of updating block statuses. For more information on Opera I Want To blocks. This lesson will cover navigating to the I Want To menu of a block and options available to you within the I Want To menu. This lesson begins from the Block Details window. Click the I Want To button. The I Want To dialog box lists the actions that can be taken on a particular block. The Change Block Status link displays the current and previous statuses of the block and enables you to advance the block status flow. This is covered in the Block Status lesson. Click the Cutoff Block link. The Cutoff Block dialog box is used to manually release all non-picked up rooms in this block up to the end date of the block. You will receive a message confirming whether you would like to proceed. Click Cancel, then click the Shift Block Date link to open the dialog box. Here, you can move the block to a new start date. You will be unable to shift the block to a new start date if there are reservations attached to the block. If you were to click the Delete Block link, you would be prompted by the system to confirm that you would like to remove the block from the system. If there are any reservations attached to the block, you will be unable to delete the block until they are detached or canceled. Click the Copy Block link to open the dialog box. From here, you are able to create a duplicate block with the same information for the same or different dates. The new block status is based upon settings in Opera Cloud Controls. First, you will need to decide on the dates you need to copy. Next, you will create a new block code or allow Opera Cloud to generate a default block code. The Include Booking Notes checkbox will copy existing block notes to the new block when it is checked. You can check the Keep Same Group Profile checkbox to keep the same group profile within the original block. This checkbox is helpful for tracking the stay statistics of a group and reducing the amount of duplicate profiles within Opera Cloud. If you check the Adjust Decision and Follow-up Dates checkbox, the dates for the new block will be adjusted by the same number of days before or after the new start date as applied to the original block. If you check the Room Block checkbox, you are able to copy information from the room and rate grid. You have the option to choose which grid type to copy. If you click the Contract Grid checkbox, the details from the contract grid will also be copied from the room and rate grid. When you are finished, you would click the Copy Block button to save your changes. In this example, we will click the Cancel link. Click the Posting Master link to open the dialog box. From here, you are able to create additional accounts if necessary. A Posting Master is a pseudo room that is used to post group transactions to one master bill. If a Posting Master already exists for the block, Opera Cloud will display a warning message asking you to confirm that you would like to continue. Click the Cancel link. Now, click the Reservation link to navigate to the Look to Book sales screen. From here, you are able to create a new reservation that is linked directly to the block. Please review the Introduction to Reservations course for a demonstration on how to create new reservations using the Look to Book sales screen. Click the Stay Statistics link to open the Block Statistics window. From here, you are able to view a visual snapshot of revenue and pickup. The Potential versus Actual tab displays numbers based on what was projected for the group and what actualized, along with the variance between the two. Click the Daily Block Summary tab to view details for each day of the block. You can view the group rooms blocked, pickup availability, and rates. Click the Back to Block link, then click the I Want To button. Now, let's click the Production Changes link to navigate to the Production Changes window. From here, you are able to view the status and revenue modifications made to the block. The Status Changes tab is where you are able to see the date and revenue impact of each block status change. Click the Revenue Changes tab. This tab displays any time there was a change in room nights or revenue. Click the Changes Log link to open the Changes Log window. Here, a history of actions appears that were performed for a particular block. In addition to seeing the activity type for each change, you can see who performed the change and when the change was performed. Click the Manage Reservations link. From the Manage Block Reservations window, you can view and manage all reservations booked for the selected block, including the posting master. When you click the Rooming List link, you can manually create or import a rooming list. This link will be covered in depth in the Rooming List lesson. Click the Reports link. From the Manage Reports window, you are able to generate any report for this block. Please review the Reports 1 course for more details on running reports within Opera Cloud. This lesson covered navigating to the I Want To menu of a block and options available to you within the I Want To menu. For more information on Opera, Overview tab displays a summary of block information and links to additional attributes. Block Overview. This lesson will cover the process of editing block details and reviewing various block attributes. The Block Overview tab displays a summary of block information and links to additional attributes. When you click the Edit link, you are able to access and modify the block and room details. From the Block Details window, you are able to edit the initial information you entered when you created the block. In this lesson, we will review fields that have not been covered in previous lessons. Next to the block name field is a link for the block's alias. When aliases are active, you can enter an alternate name for the group. You can use this alias when you are searching for a block. When a block's dates are flexible, the Alternate Dates checkbox can be used to indicate other possible booking dates for the block. The Room Details section is where you are able to enter additional information relating to the bookings made for this block. In the Payment field, you are able to select the method of payment that will default to all reservations made as part of this block. The Reservation Method field is what you can use to indicate how individual reservations will be handled. When you click the search icon, the Search and Select Reservation dialog box will appear, containing a property-specific list of reservation methods for you to choose from. Click to highlight the reservation method, then click the Select button. Certain reservation methods activate the Rooming List Due field, where you are able to enter a due date. If you are aware of the arrival and departure times for the group, you can enter those details into the corresponding fields. The Breakfast and Porterage fields are used for the purposes of Opera Cloud Sales and Event Management, also known as OSEM. We will explain these fields in depth in a separate lesson. The Room Revenue Transaction Code field is used when you need to generate block revenue with a transaction code that is different from the property's default settings. In the Catering Details section, you are able to create a simple event or catering event within Opera Cloud. For more information regarding catering details, please review the courses in the Opera Cloud Sales and Event Management learning path within Digital Learning. Click the Save button. The Block Details section of the window is divided into Block Main and Rooms. With these links, you are able to access and update additional information for the block. In this lesson, we will review some of these options. We will cover the block status, deposit cancellation, and room and rate grid links in separate lessons. Click the Linked Profiles link to open the dialog box. From the Linked Profiles dialog box, you are able to view all profiles attached to a block. When you click the profile name, you can view additional details for the profile. You can click the Add Account or Add Contact links to search for additional profiles to associate with the block. Click the Cancel link, then click the Attachments link to open the dialog box. From here, you are able to upload documents to link to the block. A detailed explanation will be covered in the Profiles course. Click the Cancel link. You can click the Block Notes link to enter notes that are specific to the group. These notes can be related to contracts or billing arrangements and are specific to blocks and do not appear on profiles or reservations. You can click the Sell Messages link to view important selling features that the agent can read to the customer or motivational messages intended for the sales agents themselves. For more information on Sell Messages, please review the Sell Messages lesson within the Introduction to Reservations course. click the Traces link to open the dialog box. Traces are internal communications that are attached to a block. These messages can be marked complete once the assigned department has performed the action. To learn more about traces, please review the Traces lesson within the Reservations Workspace 1 course. Click the Items link to open the dialog box. Here, you are able to add frequently requested items to a reservation or block, like a rollaway bed for a room or set up equipment for an event. From the Packages tab, you are able to attach package codes and package groups to a block. To learn more about items and packages, please review the Item Inventory lesson in the Reservations Overview 4 course. This lesson covered the process of editing block details and reviewing various block attributes. For more information on Opera Cloud, please review other courses on this topic within Opera Digital Learning. You may also visit the Oracle Hospitality Help Center for Opera Cloud and search for this topic. Keep your eyes peeled for additional videos and courses on Opera Cloud. Thank you for watching. Rooming list. This lesson will cover navigating to the rooming list window and the process of importing a rooming list from a spreadsheet. In the I Want To lesson from this course, we briefly introduced the rooming list. In this lesson, we will take a detailed look. Begin by clicking the I Want To button to open the dialog box, then click the Rooming List link to navigate to the Rooming List window. From the Rooming List window, you are able to manually create or import a rooming list. This window can also be used to access all reservations that have been created for the block. When you click the Add Rows link, you are able to create rows in the Rooming List window to be used for creating reservations. Before you click the Add Rows link, click the plus or minus buttons to select how many rows you would like to add at once. Click the Add Rows link. The row has been added, and you are now able to create a new reservation. You can click the Delete link to remove the row as long as the reservation does not have a confirmation number. A confirmation dialog box will appear, prompting you to confirm that you would like to delete the row. Click the Delete button. You can use the Change Template link if you would like to select another block reservation for use as a template when adding rows. The details for this reservation will be used for each new reservation. Click the Import Rooming List link to open the dialog box. From here, you are able to select a pre-populated spreadsheet and import the reservation details into Opera Cloud. Let's take a look at an example of a rooming list created as a spreadsheet that will be used for the import. The spreadsheet must be an XLS or CSV file to meet the requirements. Your spreadsheet must have headers, although the column names do not need to be exact. When you enter room types, your codes must match the codes as they appear in Opera Cloud. If there is a mismatch, an error message will appear when you attempt to save your rooming list. A line column is helpful when you are creating a shared reservation. You are able to use the number from the line column to reference sharing guests for any shared reservations. After you have created or received the spreadsheet, click the Choose File button. You will need to navigate to the location on your local network or network directory before you can click to select the file. Click to highlight the Excel file, then click the Open button. You are now ready to import the rooming list. Click the Import File button. Now that the file is loaded, a preview of the results display at the bottom of the dialog box. The number of records you imported will appear as well. The Map Columns section is where you can attempt to find a match with column headers from your spreadsheet. You can manually map any columns that are not an identical match. Here's a tip. Create a template spreadsheet with column headers matching the field names in the Match Column section. This will simplify the importing process. Now, let's click the corresponding fields to manually map the columns. Click the first name dropdown. The names of column headers as listed in your spreadsheet will appear in each drop-down menu. To remap the column headers, click on any of the available options and then click the Refresh button. Click the Add Reservations button to include the imported reservations as part of the rooming list. All of the reservations now appear in the rooming list window. You are able to make changes before you confirm the reservations. Once you have validated your list of bookings, click the Save button. If there are any shared reservations, you will be prompted with a list of shared room rate assignments. You are able to decide the share rate type for each grouping of shared reservations. Once you have decided on each shared rate type, click the Save button. The reservations created from the imported rooming list display a confirmation number. You can use the scroll bar on the bottom of the window to view and edit the reservation's details. Click the Generate Report link to open the Report Parameters Group Rooming List window. From here, you are able to print the Group Rooming List report for the block. You can modify the report parameters to determine which information will appear in the report. Click the Preview Download button to review the report in a separate window. From this window, you are able to print or download the report. When you click the View Room Rate Grid link, you can review the details of rooms held within the block. When you click the Room Type drop-down menu, you can select the information you need to view. Click the drop-down, select Pickup Percent, and then click the Search button. The result is 100% because all the block rooms are booked. Click Close. Now that the reservations are confirmed, you are able to manage and update the bookings as necessary. This lesson covered navigating to the rooming list window and the process of importing a rooming list from a spreadsheet. For more information on Opera Cloud, keep your eyes peeled. Managing block reservations. This lesson will cover managing a reservation for a block and the process of applying changes to multiple guests in a block. This lesson starts from the block window. Begin by clicking the I Want To button to open the dialog box, then click the Manage Reservations link. From the Manage Block Reservation window, you are able to view and manage all reservations booked for the selected block, including the posting master. You can click the Modify Search Criteria link to find specific reservations in the group. If you click a confirmation number link, you will be taken to the reservation to review the details of the booking. There are instances that you may need to update one or more group reservations with the same information. When a change is made to one reservation, you can copy those changes to other reservations. To do this, you will need to select a reservation, then click the I Want To button. You would then select what you would like to update. In this example, we will create an alert. Click the Alerts link to open the dialog box. Enter the information necessary to create an alert, then click the Save button. The alert we created will appear in the dialog box. When you click Close, the Apply Changes dialog box will appear. From here, you can decide whether or not to apply the changes to other reservations in the group. If the message does not appear, then the item you updated cannot be applied to other reservations using this option. Click the Yes button. Steps you need to complete before you can apply changes to the groups will appear in the window. First, you will need to choose which category of guests you would like to apply the changes to. In this example, we will apply these changes to all guests in the group. Click the Next button. The reservations that the changes will be applied to will appear in the window. Depending on your selection in the previous step, you may need to select reservations to apply the changes to. When you are finished, click the Select button. You will receive confirmation that the changes have been successfully applied, and you can return to the Manage Block Reservations window. Reservations can also be individually managed by searching for them via Reservations in the Bookings menu. This lesson covered managing a reservation for a block and the process of applying changes to multiple guests in a block. For more information on Opera, keep your block deposit and cancellation. This lesson will cover navigating to the deposit cancellation window, attaching deposit rules to a block, the process of taking deposit payments, and attaching cancellation rules to a block. Let's continue with the block main section of the window. Click the Deposit Cancellation link. From the Deposit Cancellation dialog box, you are able to manage reservation prepayments and cancellation penalties. In the Reservation section, you can view the booking details along with the projected revenue of the group. The Deposit section is where you are able to manage the advanced deposit prepayments made prior to arrival. If there are any current deposit rules on the block, they will appear. Click the new link to add a deposit rule to the block. In the deposit rule field, you are able to select the pre-configured rule you would like to apply to the block. Click the search icon to open the rule selection dialog box. From here, you are able to choose a deposit rule. Each deposit rule lists the projected due date and amounts due. Click the full payment due at time deposit rule, then click the select button. When you select a deposit rule, the corresponding fields are automatically populated. Alternatively, you are able to manually add a percentage or deposit amount, due date, and comments to create a custom deposit rule. When you are finished, click the Save button. The deposit rule is now attached to the group. When you click the ellipsis, you are able to select additional actions related to the selected rule. If you were to click Edit, you would be able to modify any available fields and then click the Save button to record your changes. If you were to click Delete, you would be prompted to confirm that you would like to remove the record from the system. Click the Post Deposit link to open the dialog box. From here, you are able to apply payments to the block. The Payment Method section is where you are able to enter the form of payment the group is using. The Method field is where you enter the method of payment. The Change Payment Method Attached to Reservation checkbox should be used when you are changing the method of payment attached to the block. In the Payment Information section, Opera Cloud calculates how much of a payment is necessary to satisfy the amount requested for the deposit. Based on the deposit rule you selected, the Amount field will contain this number. You can edit this field to reflect any amount you need to post. In the Type field, you are able to change the reservation type on the block and set the posting date for the payment. Click the Post Payment button to record the payment. You can view the posted payment at the bottom of the dialog box. You can continue posting additional payments as necessary as well. If a receipt is needed, you can click the Print Receipt link. For a more detailed explanation of the fields available to you in the Deposit Payment dialog box, please review the Front Desk Billing course. Click Close. The results of the deposit payment appear in the window. When you click the Expand button, additional details for the payment are available for you to view. Additional options are available when you click the ellipsis next to the new link. There are 2 links available for you to choose from: Post Unallocated Deposit and Transfer Deposit. If you were to click Post Unallocated Deposit, you can post a payment to a group and then later decide what amounts are applied to deposit rules or rooms or catering. If you were to click the Transfer Deposit link, you can transfer the payment to another group or posting master. Additional options related to the deposit payment rule include printing the receipt, viewing deposit transaction information, and detaching the payment from the rule. When you click the Detach Payment from this rule link, you are able to unapply the payment from the deposit rule while allowing the payment to remain on the block. You can apply the payment to another rule, or it can remain on the block as an unallocated payment. The Cancellation section is where you can manage the cancellation of charges or penalties which may involve forfeiture of deposits already applied to the block. If there are any current cancellation rules attached to the block, they will appear. Click the new link. In the Cancel Rule field, you are able to select the pre-configured rule you would like to apply to the block. Click the search icon. Just like with deposits, you can select a pre-configured cancel rule you would like to apply to the block. Each cancellation rule lists the projected due date and the amounts due. Opera Cloud leaves it up to the discretion of the property to collect cancellation penalties. Click to highlight the cancellation rule and then click the Select button. Alternatively, you can manually add a percentage cancel, room nights, and percentage due or cancel amount, cancel date, and comments to create a custom cancellation rule. Click the Save button. The cancellation penalty is now attached to the group. You can click the ellipsis to access actions related to the cancellation rule. Click Close. Notice that the deposit cancellation link is now bold and has a numerical indicator to reflect that there are deposit and/or cancellation rules attached to the block. To learn more about deposit and cancellation functionality, please review lessons in the Reservation Deposit and Cancellation Rules course. This lesson covered navigating to the deposit cancellation window, attaching deposit rules to a block, the process of taking deposit payments, and attaching cancellation rules to a block. For more information on topic, This lesson will cover navigating to the Group Rooms control window, features available to you from the Group Rooms control window, and changing the view of the Group Rooms control window. You can begin to navigate to the Group Rooms control window by clicking the Bookings menu. Next, click Blocks and then click Group Rooms Control. From the Group Rooms control window, you are able to view inventory and pickup details for group blocks. At the top of the window is a search area with various filters you can use to find specific blocks. Click the search button. Blocks for the start and end date that was entered will appear. You can view 12 days of block statistics at a time, beginning with the start date. You can click the forward and backward arrows to view different days. Click the View Options link. From the View Options dialog box, you are able to update the information that appears on the Group Rooms control window, providing a more or less revealing breakdown of data. This dialog box is divided into 3 sections: Summary Level, Detail Level, and Block Summary Information. You can click the individual checkboxes or click the Select, Deselect All checkbox for each section. Click the Cancel link. In the Summary section, you are able to view the total number of rooms booked per day for all blocks within the selected date range. Below the summary, you can find the details for each individual block within the selected date range. If you were to click the block code link, you would open the block overview window in a separate browser. When you click the ellipsis, you have the options to create a new block or to create a new master block. This lesson covered navigating to the Group Rooms control window, features available to you from the Group Rooms control window, and changing the view of the Group Rooms control window. For more information on Opera Cloud, please review